So Tony, we asked you about Big Ben, and you talk about Minka. That's
Yeah,
what I'm here.
I don't want to talk about Ben because this is not good. Again, this is not going to be a productive conversation.
I know how to get Tony to talk about Ben Roethlisberger.
Sure.
I'm going to talk about Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay, go. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start the conversation with everybody else, and then we'll let Tony jump in. But let's just imagine a world, a very, I think 60% chance of happening world where, 38-year-old quarterback coming off an elbow surgery who has a weird throwing motion again and might fatigue late in games, might not be the guy that he was 2 years ago. Let's imagine that guy stinks this year.
Of course.
What's next for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ace? What do you think?
They got to cut him. They cut him. I think they cut him.
Are you saying that they're going to cut Big Ben? I think
they have
to. I think they have to, but it's going to be a drama-filled. It's going to be Eli Manning all over again. And me and Tony, for those who don't know, we live in the Orlando area. There happens to be a high concentration of people from New York here. And I just remember that entire season. A lot of my coworkers, they were like, "Oh, you can't cut Eli." And I'm like, Eli just threw like 5 picks the other day. Like, what Eli are you like watching? And when you get into those situations, being that these guys have done so much for them, you talk about Big Ben winning them a Super Bowl, you talk about the Eli Mannings of the world getting them 2 Super Bowls. It's hard to let go, and it's hard for that to be a situation where it ends on good terms. And I think especially with Big Ben, we've already seen him kind of get riled up, like, I'm retiring, and Mason Rudolph, I'm not helping you take over my position. Like, we've already seen that there's potentially drama there. And I think that you just really rip the Band-Aid off if you're like, we're cutting Ben Roethlisberger. But it has to happen. It has to happen. I don't want it to happen. I'm going to love every little part of the end of Ben and how it goes because it's going to put you guys in a difficult situation. But if he comes back and he is not that guy, you got to move on. I mean, this is a division now with 3 Heisman-winning quarterbacks. They're all young. You got to move on. But if he is still Ben, you have to take that risk, but that is a lot of money to be given that guy, and especially if he isn't going to be playing at a high level anymore. But we have to see it play out, and I'm here for that. I'm here for that. I'm hoping that it's just. I'm hoping that it's a disaster.
I want Eli Manning 2.0. Look, the thing is, this year doesn't matter how bad he plays, they can cut it. That's 44.5 dead money right on the spot. They can't cut it, even if they decide to put it at post June 1st, so they will split this year, but then next year is 44.25. Look, they're
not going to cut him this year.
Yeah. So the reality is, even though right now I saw the video of the throw motion, it was elbow attached to the rib, and then he just like trying to push it.
That's not true. Come on.
He's like right now, long pass for him is 5 yards deep.
I just don't understand. I understand not showing any plays or anything, but why not just put this all to rest? Because ESPN and all these people, they're going to be talking about it, right? Why not just show it from an angle where you can't see the formation or anything?
No, I mean they've shown Ben. Yeah, you can see Ben throwing. Okay. Yeah, you can see Ben throwing. He looks fine. Look, the funny thing about the article, right? The funny thing about the article that Kaboli wrote is that he says he starts it by saying, like, look, I have to be honest with this. I've been watching Ben Roethlisberger for the last, whatever it's been, 15 years that he's been on the team, and his throwing motion looks different this year. He's not following through the same way he used to. Then he goes on to say, look, nothing else. Literally, you would if you had never watched Ben Roethlisberger before, you would never know that there's anything wrong because there's not a change in velocity. There's not a change in accuracy. In fact, 2 days later, Kaboli comes back to write about what a great day Ben had at Wednesday practice, about how, look, and he writes in like insane hyperbole here. I read this on Quincy's show. I still have it, so I'll read it again. He said, quote, wherever Roethlisberger wanted to throw the ball Wednesday, he threw it. It was like he was playing a game of darts and hit the middle of the bullseye every time. He was that accurate. He follows that up with this amazing line. We aren't talking about catchable balls here. We're talking about pinpoint accurate throws every time. Now, look, am I going to sit here and say Ben Roethlisberger's elbow surgery made him the most accurate quarterback in the league all of a sudden? Of course not, right? But also, I don't think the one concern you have about the throwing motion, and Kaboli brings this up, is and Quincy, you brought this up too, right? The fatigue aspect of it. If you're not following through, does that put more pressure on your arm as games go on? If Ben Roethlisberger is in a game this year where he has to throw the ball 35, 40, 45 times, then do you start to see, or as the season wears on, do we start to see some fatigue in the arm? But one thing that's been interesting about this camp is that usually the Steelers go on a schedule with Ben where it's full day, half day, day off, right? That's just kind of the veteran way that they handle him right now. They haven't been doing that so far. In fact, I think he had his first day off of camp 2 days ago. So that's been interesting to watch. They haven't put him on a pitch count just yet. I think, and what's also very interesting about him is, and I've talked about this before, is I was very hopeful that he would understand you got to stop this obsession with veteran guys and start to work in some of the younger guys earlier on. Ben would do this thing in camp where he wouldn't let the rookies into his line, right? They'd have to earn it throughout camp, throughout preseason. And then they would work themselves.
I thought he's building chemistry with what is Claypool. The guy? No, with Edelman. The Edelman.
Yeah, Switzer. Edelman. Don't get me started on Switzer. Sonny, he's ripped this year. Looks fantastic. He may be Julian Edelman this year. But
on this very program, Tony went on like an epic anti-Ryan Switzer rant, but he's jacked now. It's the Marquise Brown.
No. What's funny about Switzer is he reads the comments. I mean, he very clearly reads the comments, and I'm joking about that. He talked about this in his press conference, and I heard all the hate all offseason. And Steeler fans had a lot of fun with him last year, and it's mostly because of that stupid quote he said that Ben sent him. Why can't this be us about Edelman and Brady? But no, I mean, Switzer clearly reads the comments, and he spent every day working out, reading those comments. So